Okay. Thank you for allowing me the time to come and talk to you. The first topic I wish to address is the Heathkit River flooding, which I'm aware is a large problem, and I'm sure you're all aware of the larger need for investigations and finances to be put into this. So Summerfield Residents Association requests that there is more put into this, and including the whole of the Heathkit River system, including where the stormwater drains and the street drains and the springs into parts of our local river. The part I'm mainly referring to is, which is part of our area, is Ernley Terrace and Ashgrove Terrace. Not as largely affected as what other areas are. We were part of a survey. We did a survey basically that Beckenham Neighbourhood Association also did. They had a much bigger result obviously, but it was clearly indicated to us that Ashgrove Terrace, the homes were relatively lucky because they were up quite high, but they were actually quite affected by the drains, the streets drains, where there'd be one drain and all the water would come from far, basically, and it is noted that many drains go into one area, which is by the Swan Lake Gardens. So they did have the access blocked on Ashgrove Terrace, and some loss of income was resulting from these floods. However, Ernley Terrace was more affected in Ernley Clark Reserve, and because of the low nature of the banks, whether it's due to the earthquakes, would have some effect. The land has dropped evidently. Fortunately, no homes were reported to be flooded, so we're lucky in that respect. But it's just emphasising the importance, and follow along with what Alistair Humphreys was saying, that the importance of cleaning out the drains and the stormwater drains. You probably can't see this, but I personally live next door to a stormwater drain, and it's very green at the moment. We have filed out a report to get it cleaned, but to me it's a prime example of possibly what's happening in our riverways, our waterways, and if it's dirty there, then what's it doing further on down the river, basically. So it's quite stagnant, and being a... Pardon? That's in Leach Street. Leach Street? Yeah. To me, it's a health issue. There's probably mosquitoes in it, I'm not sure, but to get it tested would be interesting. But that just sort of emphasises, I think, the importance of looking at the stormwater drains collectively as a whole as to whether they need to be closed in even, or what's the best thing to do. We need experts, please, to investigate that. So, and also there has been, according to residents and neighbours in the area, that there has been ineffective replanting done to the land. The Ernley Terrace is evidently quite lower than Ashgrove Terrace, which is why it's just a complete pool over Ernley Terrace. So whether there could be more planting that would assist this. We also have other ideas, like, which I'm sure you're well aware of, diverting waterways, drains, cleaning up the stormwater drains, regularly dredging the Heathkit River, as perhaps they used to do more often, maybe making the river deeper, wider, or creating stop banks or building up the height of the bank sides, particularly as Ernley Terrace requires and Ernley Clark Reserve. And also, I feel on behalf of Summerfield Residents Association that regularly testing the water and notifying the public as to whether it is safe for dogs, kids that are possibly going to go in there regardless, unless there's a sign up there. There is no polluting sign up there. I'm not sure if it's safe in that area, but if there was some sort of indication, that would be useful for the public. So in summary, Summerfield Residents Association acknowledges that while the area of our Heathkit River does not have the same level of flooding that other areas of Heathkit River have, we feel that the entire Heathkit River needs to be attended to and investigated as to how flooding may be impacting on the rest of the river, or it may be affected by the further subdivision developments over the previous years. We would like it investigated and before further development goes on, preferably subdivisions to impact on the problem that's happening within the river.
Thank you, Julie, for everything you've done in the area. Just to clarify a couple of things, the stretch of Ashgrove Terraces that your Summerfield Residents Association look after is between Barrington and Columba. I just thought I'd clarify that for the other councillors.
Yep, sure.
Now also with the waterway that you've passed the pitch around with, do you feel that with regards to regular maintenance of those waterways that it wouldn't be obviously in the condition that is it now? Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, they do clean it out twice a year at least, usually, and it's usually weeds. So you can cope with weeds, but that, to me, it's growth.
Okay, yeah.
And it's stagnant, which to me is unhealthy.
Yep.
Weeds you can sort of, deal with, but...
So it's almost more than maintenance, it's just, maybe it's better to be filled in, or...
Preferably, it would be nice to be
covered
filled
over,
in.
I should say.
Covered over. We have requested whether that's able to be done in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, so, we leave it to the experts as to what is the best thing to do for that, but at the moment it is a safety risk for children that might be running around because it's quite deep, quite dangerous, plus a safety risk as far as health goes. As far as I'm concerned at the moment, we did find a dead rat in there. There have been ducklings that have been underground, and apparently, according to my neighbour, actually there's methane gases used to be under there too. So, yeah, to me it's a health risk, and yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just ask how long it's been stagnant for? Like, has it actually ever worked, and was it before the earthquake it would work okay, or is it anything you've noticed post-earthquake?
So pre-earthquake it was clean concrete base, basically. No water in there, generally no water in there. And then since the earthquakes, there was noted to be some liquefaction in the bottom, and it did get checked out. They did look underground to see if there are any obvious cracks under there. I'm not exactly sure of all the results of that, but definitely there's never been that growth like there is now.
Yes, one of the questions we're facing with our financial situation is whether we just stop doing repairs to some of our horizontal infrastructure. Government have put a fixed amount in, and whether we get more or not, and whether we spend more or not is a question. What would your view be on that in terms of fixing our infrastructure?
Okay, I guess it's just a matter of being aware and whether aware that the finances are tight, whether residents could actually are they able to seek permission to cover it over themselves, basically, to help in with the City Council, basically, as to what is required.
If not, thank you very, very much indeed for coming in, and thank you for Sorry, yes, you may. Yep, no, you certainly may. Yep.
The only other thing I was just going to say about was the cycle lanes, just the importance of that we require that basically within the area on the main streets. Some of them have been started, but they sort of drift off into nowhere, and been quite a busy area, particularly with Barrington Mall taking off, and that's the way it is. We would like to see it completed, please. But thank you for allowing me to talk.
Which ones, can you specify which ones are drifting off into nowhere? Because
Okay,
I do
so
agree they need to be finished. They're no good if they do that.
So down on Colombo Street, if you're going towards Beckenham, Summerfield end, basically, it's Great Lanes and then it just disappears. And then also on Barrington Street, down the Milton Street end, it disappears as well. So it's just like someone's had paint and painted half of it and then just forgotten to paint the rest. I'm not sure, but yeah. The main streets would be great if it was completed too. Like Selwyn Street and Milton Street are quite popular, quite busy areas for school children. South Intermediate and Summerfield School are quite often cycling down there, and it just feels safer if there were better lanes there. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed
Okay, thank you.
for all that. Jane's got a note about your drain as well.